Good morning, everyone. I've been wanting to do a video covering one of my regular morning walk trails and just foraging through the woods and exploring all the trees and plants because there are so many edible plants and berries and all the trees that I see all around, and I wanted to capture some of them. So, well, here we are. Let's begin. To the left here we have bamboo trees. At this particular spot, it's being used as a hedge because over here there are two houses on either side. This tree is excellent for preventing soil erosion, and at my place here, often you'll see small clumps of bamboo trees growing randomly here and there. And it is also very popular for its timber and mostly used for building structures and furniture because its wood is very light and strong. And to the right here we have pine trees. Geographically, this state is the home of pine trees in our country. And to the right, can you spot this other type of tree? You know what it's called? It's called Tree of Heaven. What a beautiful name, isn't it? In full growth, this tree of heaven, it's a huge and very lush tree. When it's smaller, it looks like a shrub, but it grows into a huge tree. In fact, problem with this tree is that it can actually grow anywhere and in any climate, but its growth is so severe that you have to be careful to prune it regularly, otherwise it can destroy the nearby settlements. I love pine trees for no particular reason. They just make me so happy. Starting over here, we have this Bradford pear, also called Kellery pear. It's summers now here, but in early spring it produces very beautiful flowers. You know what? I think I've got some clippings of this tree flowering. Here, I found it. Look at these flowers, so beautiful, isn't it? And these scenes are from very, very early spring towards the tail end of winters, in fact. So it was still a bit cold. And at that time of the year, usually none of the other flower plants have flowered. So it's nice to see this tree covered in gorgeous white flowers that time of the year. It looks so beautiful. Apparently, its beauty is what enticed people, and they grew these in abundance few decades back, but now they regret it because there isn't much use of these trees to humans as such because the wood of this tree is very brittle and prone to breaking. Its branches are prone to breaking in strong winds, and I've heard that it smells, but I haven't experienced that, so can't really elaborate on that. This is a wild pomegranate growing under this tree. We have loads of wild pomegranate growing round the corners here. It gives very tasty fruit and it's edible both to humans and to wild animals also. The pomegranate it produces, it's a bit smaller than the one which is available commercially, but it's still edible and very delicious. Coming back to Bratson pear, the wood of this tree can be used to make fine furniture and musical instruments. And I think we shouldn't always be looking at everything from its usage to humans only, right? This tree is very popular with pollinators and birds because it flowers so early in the year. So it brings out all the bees and flies, beetles, and insects out of their hibernation as the winter ends. And its fruit, while it's toxic to humans, so don't try to bite into it, okay? Because first it's very hard, you'll probably end up hurting your teeth or gums, and secondly it's harmful to humans, it causes vomiting, nausea, diarrhea. So yeah, but these fruits are very popular with birds. In fact, this fruit is so popular with birds that is one of the reasons why it spreads so much, because the birds carry its seeds all around. And then following all these, this over here we have Mrs. Wilson barberry tree. It's a bush, and actually I didn't know this name. I had to search it for this video's purpose. Over here in the native language of this state, we call it krundu. So these berries, they are edible, and they'll be dark, very dark purple, navy, blackish in color once they are matured, and they are very tasty. When we were kids, we used to eat them a lot. Only problem was that it's a bit of a hassle picking them because they are so tiny, but then again, because they are so tasty, so as kids nobody minds that. I have done a dedicated video on this bush. If you want, you can check it out. It's on in my plants in the wild playlist, and I have covered all the stages of this plant. Next, we have here, this is called Punjab fig. I think I've heard it called Bedu in the native language here. This plant, this is an edible berry, and it's extremely tasty and very filling. Right now you can see it's green in color, but once it matures it becomes dark purple from the outside, and inside it will be yellowish in color. And it's very satiating and very sweet when you eat it. That's why it's so popular, not just with the wild animals and birds, but even for human consumption, it's very good. I think for a permaculture food forest, it will be a very good addition. Because not only is its fruit nutritious and edible, but from a permaculture design standpoint, this tree, it is also very good for companion planting. This is a drought resistant tree, and the land at the bottom of this tree can be used for growing many types of shade tolerant herbs, while the top of this tree can be used for growing different types of climbers. So far on this trail, we've had bamboo trees, pine trees, tree of heaven, Bradford pear, wild pomegranates, Mrs. Wilson's barberry tree, then this Punjab fig growing over here. Then what do we have next here? Okay, this is an evergreen rose plant. This is a climber, and it grows a lot. And I have already made a video on it. If you want, you can check it out. Actually, you must check it out because it's a great video. I mean, video is all right, but right now it's summer, so the flowers have dried off, even though the plant is still green. And I had made that video in spring, and these flowers are so beautiful in full bloom. You really must have a look at it to understand how mesmerizing it looks. Underneath all this, we have these sheep sorrels. I'll talk about these later in this video. And moving ahead, we have this pine tree forest, which is native to this land and extremely crucial for this place, for the biodiversity of this place, because this is the Himalayan range. For this forest, I have made multiple videos following various trails inside this forest. If you want, you can go to my nature walk playlist and check them out. As we walk down this trail and cross this pine forest, we reach these Asian meadow sweets. So the thing is, over here in this region, these Asian meadow sweet flowers, they bloom only in early spring, and then this flower dries off. but this plant it stays green throughout the year. So I have some scenes from late winter, early spring. I'll add them here so that you can see how this plant looks. Here it is. Doesn't this look absolutely spectacular? Just look at these flowers and see at the back you can see the pine forest and to the left the trail we are walking on. And when these flowers bloom no in early spring late winter, that time none of the other flowers have come out. So as soon as you see these flowers you know that spring is just around the corner now. And by the way, this flour is edible. It can be used in salads or like edible flowers in food items. And its tea is very popular. Not only is it good taste wise, but it's also good for health. Its tea has anti-inflammatory properties and it's very good for your digestive health. Actually, I've made a dedicated video on this plant. You can have a look at it if you want. If nothing else, you'll just enjoy looking at these gorgeous flowers. Moving along the trail here, we have another wild pomegranate tree growing, and underneath we have these sheep sorrel. If you look carefully, you can see wheat growing in between these sheep sorrels. Over here, this is the Himalayan range, so wheat grows naturally here like grass everywhere. But anyways, I'm not interested in it, so moving on. To the right, you will be able to see here this plant. This is a version of sorrel. It's called curly dock sorrel. It's sort of a larger variety of sheep sorrel, and its fruit is a bit bigger and its leaves are also larger. As you can see, this is a perennial plant. It's edible. It can also be cooked, like used in salads or cooked as a vegetable. And this plant, this is a great source of iron. So if you have iron deficiency, you can consume it, but in moderation, because sometimes it can be a little bit harmful to your kidneys because the iron is so high in this plant. So it's a great plant. Another wild pomegranate growing here. These days, these trees are flowering, and in late summer, we'll get fruits out of these trees. And it's a great source of food to all the wild animals and birds there. And because these are edible to humans, also, we can very easily eat them. In fact, when we were kids, we used to enjoy them a lot. They are not so sweet actually because the fruit is a bit smaller. It's a bit sour in taste, but it's very tasty, especially for kids and in summer especially. This is another Punjab fig growing over here, a huge fig tree. Such a good and such a luscious source of food for the wild animals, isn't it? And underneath this tree, you can see this Mrs. Wilson's Barbary bush growing here. And following this, we have loads of sheep sorrels and some dry pine needles. Come, I'll show you little bit view of this trail. It's so beautiful. I really love walking on this trail. It's early morning. You can see sun has not yet come out. It's still peeping behind the clouds. It rained last night and it looks like it might rain again today. In fact, when I was walking over here, few droplets did fall, but thankfully it stopped. If you want to see this trail in detail, recently I did a video called I Walk with Ghosts. It's in my nature walk playlist. You can check that out. Mostly it's just drying off plants because it's summers now, no? So most of the plants are drying off. But I really enjoyed filming that video because even though the plants are drying, but it still looks so beautiful. Now let's continue on our path. Let me show you the other side of this road. So here we were checking out all these plants. Towards the other side we have, is this a tree of life? Tree of heaven, sorry. Oh no, it's an evergreen bush. You can see the roses. These are drying now. They bloomed in spring and now these are drying. And this evergreen rose, it has latched onto this Mrs. Wilson's Barbary bush. Because this evergreen rose is a climber, no? So it has latched onto this. See, I really love how in nature all these plants coexist, isn't it? It's so wonderful. That is why I'm so attracted to permaculture. And see, behind this, you can see this huge pomegranate tree. It's such a big tree. It's flowering now. You can see these red flowers. And behind this pomegranate tree, there are multiple pine trees. So wonderful, isn't it? Oh, I really, really, really love this. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is yellow golden gooseberry, or Himalayan gooseberry. These berries, they are native to this state, and oh my god, you guys, these are so tasty, so yummy, just delicious. These are very, very sweet and so soft, and I cannot explain to you how delicious these are. But there's a downside to these. If you eat them a lot, and I mean a lot, then it will upset your stomach and you might get diarrhea. Like, I should not laugh. I know it's a serious matter. But when I say that you have to eat a lot, I mean like literally. Like, just imagine from morning till evening, you are only eating these berries and that's it. And when we were kids, we used to do that because they grow only in summer and they are so attractive, not just to look at, but even to eat. So we used to eat them a lot. And if you keep on eating them all day long, as young kids do, then be ready to spend the night in bathroom. But no regrets at all, absolutely worth it because these are incredibly tasty. And more importantly, the side effect happens only when you are behaving like kids and don't eat in moderation. See how attractive they are. Imagine to all the pollinators and birds and all, they must get so excited looking at these. And I picked them up and straight to the mouth. Now let's continue down our trail. So here we have sheep sorrel, which are edible by the way. Then this Himalayan gooseberry. We have a small pine tree growing over here. We have Mrs. Wilson's barberry tree in the background. This is wild pomegranate growing here. You can see the tiny fruits coming along. And these leaves over here, you see this? This is a tree called locust. I found another one besides the same. It'll be easier for you to identify now. It grows like 30 feet tall and it produces a yellow colored fruit. It kind of looks like a peach. So, okay, I looked online and apparently this tree is also called Japanese plum. So now I guess now it'll be easier for you to visualize how the fruit looks like a yellow plum. And its fruit is a great source of antioxidants and very good for boosting your immune system. Let's continue walking along. Lots of grass and fallen pine needles. Okay, so over here we have sheep sorrel growing along with crofton weed. I've done a video on crofton weed, and as I had said in that video, that in this region, this crofton weed is not an invasive plant. It grows in winters and then by summertime, like it is right now, it just dries off. This Crofton weed, it has loads of antibacterial and antifungal properties. So if you have like a rash or skin irritation, if you apply it on your skin, it'll help you a lot. Walking along, you can see loads of weed and also nettles growing along these pine needles. And to the left, you can see an evergreen rose shrub. I've done a video on this plant as well, and I love this flower. Now, personally, I'm more into fruits and vegetables and berries rather than flowers, but this one is definitely at the top of my list to grow in my forest. Behind this evergreen rose, we can spot another bush of Himalayan golden raspberry. And over here, these are nettles. I don't know if you know or not, but nettles are actually edible. In fact, they are very popular over here, especially in the countryside. These are extremely healthy, not just for your body, but even for your soil. And in fact, it's a must recommendation for a permaculture forest. And these are a great source of amino acids and especially bone building materials. So like calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc and all. So if your bones break frequently, you can use this as a supplement. So moving along, we have a small Mrs. Barbary Wilson's shrub growing over here and Himalayan golden raspberry to the left. And you see these pointed leaves? Are you able to make out in between this shrub? This is tree of heaven growing over here. And I was going on and on about the taste of this golden raspberry, but actually it's very healthy also when eaten in moderation, of course. But then again, excess of everything is bad, except I think potato, which is my favorite vegetable. So this raspberry, it's very good for throat related ailments. So like sore throat or coughs, or like sometimes little kids like toddlers and babies, their throat it gets jammed up or sore because of lot of crying. So you can mash up this raspberry and give it to them. It's supposed to soothe their throat. And to the left, these bigger leaves which you are seeing, this is again another loquat tree, which is also known as Japanese plum. Let's have a look back at the road that we just covered. Do you remember those rocks which we just saw a few minutes back? Those were present at the end of this road, and to the right were the Asian meadowsweet, and another right from that point, and we would have reached our starting trail. We've only covered few meters and all of it has been full of edible plants all around. So wonderful, isn't it? Everything growing naturally. Let's keep on walking. Can you spot the pine needles all around? It looks so beautiful. I love pine needles. Let's keep on walking. These are again evergreen rose bush. But to the right, I spotted this plant. This is called agave. And this was a single plant growing over here. This is a drought tolerant succulent and it's an excellent antiseptic, just like aloe vera. And at the back, we can spot river tamarind and Australian silky oak trees. I'll come back to those later. This plant, the leaves of this plant, it can be used for skin infections, especially wounds and burns. And if you want to look at the view, this is how it looks. So we have sheep sorrel here, and at the other end, this end, we had the agave plant, and below that, we had the evergreen rose. These are oleanders growing over here. Beautiful flower, but extremely toxic. Not at all good around human population. Let's continue. So these are evergreen rose plants. Can you spot the wild pomegranate right in the middle? And these flowers so beautiful. And right besides it, we have this Punjab fig. Can you spot the figs right in the middle again? And this was a huge tree growing over here. To the right of this tree, sorry, to the left of this tree, again we have another evergreen bush growing, white roses, and see we have the Himalayan golden raspberry growing as well again between all these. This is also delightful, isn't it? So many different flowers and so many different berries and fruits, figs, everything growing together. Imagine for all the pollinators and all different wild mammals and birds, this must be like a feast every day. So awesome, really. Walking ahead, we have another wild growth here. Let me see what all can I spot. So first of all, I can see Crofton wheat to the right. In the background, we have wild pomegranate again growing flowers, evergreen white roses, Mrs. Wilson's barberry tree. This is really so lovely. All of them growing together. Let's see what else do we have. Look at these pomegranate. It's such a huge tree. Onto this tree, this evergreen rose. This is a climber. This is climbed on, and uh, and underneath this tree, we have Mrs. Wilson's barberry growing on. As we keep on walking, we have these sheep sorrels growing on the rocks here. Now, I have done a dedicated video on sheep sorrel. This is a native plant to this land and it's extremely important. First of all, because these are edible. In fact, all parts of this plant are edible. And secondly, because in monsoons or in heavy showers, these hills are prone to landslides. So these sheep sorrels, its deep root structure, it latches onto the soil and it helps in preventing landslides. Now coming to this tree on the left, this tree is it's a wild tamarind tree and it's called ipil. It's edible and it's extremely nutritious. It's a great source of protein and it has medicinal properties also. It can be used for pain relief. We have this wild pomegranate growing besides that wild tamarind ipil and these sheep sorrels underneath it. So gorgeous, isn't it? Such radiant color. I mean, can you imagine this is like a grass here? And in fact, for your permaculture forest, this can be an excellent alternative to grass. Let's have a look back at the road we have covered so far. I take this route for my morning walks almost every day. I have to walk around 3 kilometers on the main road to reach this trail. But this trail it goes uphill, right? As you can see. So not many people take it, and therefore in the morning it's so serene and so calm and so less populated. Look at these yellow pine trees. So gorgeous. In the morning, very few people come here. So I really like this a lot. And all these forest view all around, pine trees. I think I've already said so many times on this video that I love pine trees. Continuing down this trail, we have beautiful pine tree forest on the right and these radiant sheep sorrel on the left. Let's see what we have ahead. I spotted these curly dog sorrels again besides these sheep sorrels. They both come from the same family. Only difference is this curly dog, as I had mentioned earlier in this video, that these have larger flower and larger leaves. And of course it's edible and this is a great source of iron. And this on the ground, this is all wild mint. Mint, as you must be knowing, it's all edible. So great, isn't it? Mint all around and we have few leaves of sheep sorrel here and then curly dog sorrel. And if you look carefully in the background you can spot tree of heaven. Next on the trail, I spotted this plant. It's called Purple Heart. It's actually an indoor plant and it's used as a house plant here in many places. And it's the evergreen plant. By evergreen, I mean it remains this purple color throughout the year. It doesn't really dry off as such and such vibrant color, isn't it? And this plant, it's actually in feng shui, it's considered very lucky to have in your house. So nice, no? It's supposed to increase your creativity and knowledge. This right in front is a plum tree, still a baby plum tree, and in the background above the rocks, that is tree of life. And if we cross the road, again we have another bush of this Mrs. Wilson's barberry trees. And moving ahead, we have bottle brush tree. So I have done a video on both of these. I have covered bottle brush trees also separately. We have loads of bottle brush trees here. These are not native to this land, but still now these days we find these in plenty. So if you want, you can check out that video. These bottle brush, no, they are excellent for pollinators because they produce some kind of sweet substance and pollinators love these. Then again, we have these berries, and moving ahead, I can spot many eucalyptus trees. You know, I've done a video on eucalyptus trees. You must check that out because I love eucalyptus trees and I think they are shunned by people. Over here, I can see a growth of crofton weed, which I have covered in another video. And I can also spot an Australian silky oak tree. I'll show that to you. I just spotted a cactus tree. Let me show that to you first. It was hidden behind a big pomegranate tree on the upper side of the hill. This is a prickly pear cactus and it has great nutritional value. Not only is its fruit completely edible, but its leaves or these pads, these are also edible. These are very good for your bones and for improving your skin, the quality of your skin. And as everybody knows, this is a drought resistant plant. This is called an Australian silky oak tree. You know, I think I should do a dedicated video on this tree because we have loads and loads of these trees here. I love this tree. This is a very fast growing tree and it grows into a huge, tall, wide, big tree. And within permaculture, this it's not only good for increasing the nourishment of your soil, but it also provides good shade for other plants. And this is also a great source for creating mulch. Moving ahead from the cactus plant, I spotted these berries. These are called Egyptian carissa. And when we were kids, no, we used to love eating them. These berries, they are much bigger than those Mrs. Wilson barberries, at least triple in size. And like those golden Himalayan raspberries that I showed you earlier, they are very sweet. But these Egyptian carissa berries, these are sweet with just a little hint of sourness. Just perfect. These are dark purple in color, and your tongue gets fully purple if you eat a lot. But unlike those golden raspberries, these don't have any side effects. You can eat them as much as you want. When we were kids, we used to collect them in handfuls and stuff them in our mouths. Just the perfect mix of sweetness and sourness. But, anyways, you can use these berries for making jams, jellies, and even juice. Its juice is also very popular here. Moving ahead, I found these Punjab figs growing again. And if you notice the root structure of this tree is growing along with a tree of heaven. Both of these trees are basically growing together and their roots are intermixed. And both of them are such huge trees and they are able to grow together. Cool, no? See? See how tall they are. Moving on, here we have these sheep sorrels. As usual, we have loads of these around here, everywhere. And then moving slightly ahead, over here I spotted this ipil. It's also called river tamarind tree again. I'm glad I spotted this tree. Over here you can look at its full growth. It's a huge tree. Not only is the fruit of this tree edible to human beings, but its leaves they can be eaten by livestock. In fact, they are a very good source of protein for livestock. And its root system, it has a very deep root system, so it helps in preventing soil erosion and it also helps in preventing landslides like over here in hilly area landslides are very common and what else, yeah, this tree, it's also a good source of biomass and it helps in fixing the nitrogen content of the soil. At the bottom of this river tamarind tree, we have these yellow bells growing here. So beautiful, no? See, we can have all these perfectly manicured gardens and everything segregated properly within particular boundaries. But I really love this how everything is present in nature, but the nature is all encompassing. Everything has a place, everything has a purpose, and when everything grows together and lives in harmony, it's so fulfilling. Don't you think so? I feel like this is my family. Like, this is how a family should live. Like, you can grow and prosper, and the beings around you can also grow and prosper. On the other side of these yellow bells, I spotted this shrub. This belongs to a flower. It's called winter jasmine. As the name suggests, it blooms in winters, and now it's summer's here. So obviously the flowers have dried off. But I have some scenes I had captured in winter. I'll add them here. See, aren't these absolutely stunning? So brilliant. Yellow flowers are my favorite. All of them. It's such a happy color. If you ever feel sad or if you're feeling slightly depressed, go outside and see a yellow flower. Instantly, you'll feel hopeful. I love yellow flowers. But anyways, this winter jasmine. So this it looks like a climber, but it's not a climber. It's actually a shrub, and its branches are very flexible. So you can train them as a climber to climb on a wall, or you can form a hedge from these plants and use in your garden, or you can simply use it for ground coverage. And because it blooms in winters and usually other flowers don't bloom in winters, so this provides such a good source of food for the birds and other pollinators. I was wondering where to end this video because this trail can go on and on for hours, and all around it's surrounded by edible plants. And like, I've never had a garden in my house, and I'm not allowed to keep too many flower pots. So I consider this wild forest all around me as my forest. And I think with these yellow flowers coming on my trail, this is a very serendipitous ending to this video. So I'll end the video here. I had been thinking of making such a video for a very long time, but I was not confident to speak in my video till recently. So I'm very glad that I was able to make this video. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So until next time, happy planting.